This segment is sponsored by Michigan Auto Law. Do you let your young children ride in the front seat of the car? Did you know Michigan law allows a child 4 years or older to ride in the front seat as long as certain car seat and seatbelt requirements are complied with? It may be legal, but is it safe? Attorney Brandon Hewitt is here from Michigan Auto Law to discuss. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you as always.
Yeah, glad to have you. I know the answer is that it is not safe for small children to sit up front. Child safety experts say that kids under 13 should sit in the back seat and use seat belts. What are the seat belt requirements for kids riding up front, though?
Yeah, so you set it up front, right? This is one of those situations where what is necessarily recommended and what is legal are kind of two different things. So believe it or not, in Michigan, only children under 4 years of age are required to be in the back seat in the booster seat. If you have a child over the age of 4, they can legally ride in the front seat. There are some rules behind that, but believe it or not, yes, your 5-year-old can ride in the front seat.
Hmm. And if they are in the front seat, they obviously have to be belted.
Yes. So there's distinguished here, basically under the age of 8 or 4 feet 9 inches. It's either or, which is interesting. So under the age of 8 or 4 feet 9 inches, you have to be in a car seat. And that's usually rear facing, and they can only be in that rear facing if the front airbag for the passenger seat is turned off. Most cars automatically do that if they sense a weight in the front seat and the seatbelt is not buckled, so they automatically turn that off, but you have to make sure that is turned off. Over the age of 8, or if your child is a big kid, a fast grower, if they're over 4 feet 9, they're essentially treated like an adult. They just have to be seat belted normally. But again, that doesn't quite jive with what is being recommended from the American Association of Pediatrics. They say under the age of 13 is the safest thing to do.
I had always heard that front airbag, that if you were below a certain height, and I guess this does kind of address that those airbags can seriously injure or even kill you.
Yeah, for sure. So actually, children are twice as likely to be seriously injured in a car crash if an airbag is deployed in their area. So, airbags come out in a split second, less than a split second, right? So they come out super fast, super hard. We see a lot of broken noses, broken arms from people putting up their arms to brace for an impact. For a child, their small bone structure, their small bodies, that can be devastating. And so, most cars are going to have side curtain airbags, which are safer, from side impacts, but they're not going to have that front airbag that could, obviously potentially very seriously harm them. So keeping your children in the back seat, we know that the law says you can put them up front at a certain time, but keeping them in the back seat really until they are 13, until they're older, have some more weight to them and height to them, the safest thing is just to keep them in the back seat.
So what are the penalties if you violate the law and let your child up in that front seat when they're not supposed to be there?
This is something that I feel like you and I talk about quite a bit, is that, unfortunately, the penalties associated with some of these violations in Michigan, traffic violations or car violations, just really don't come up to the point where there's much deterrence. So, there's only a $10 violation for the violations involving children under 4. I think it's about $25 for older children. That's just not much of a deterrent. And even for adults without seatbelts, the seatbelt violation is about $65. There's no points. There's no real, you could be susceptible to court costs, that kind of stuff, but there's no real harsh penalties, no driver's requirements, training classes requirements for violations, just kind of these smaller dollar amounts. And it's just what we're seeing is not enough to really encourage people to take the safest possible measures as far as their children and belting themselves.
Well, I'm going to you supplied me with so much information about the laws and the guidelines, the recommendations for both front seat and back seat child passengers. So I'm going to put that all on our website and let folks know that if they want more information or need to contact an attorney, call 833-411-MISH or visit michiganautolaw.com. Brandon, thank you.
Thank you. Keep those kids in the back seat.
Yeah.